Hey guys, what's up? I'm CJ and welcome back to my galaxy. Today I'm going to be watching The Bear, season 3 of The Bear. I've watched the first 2 seasons last year, I think, when season 2 came out, and I loved it. And usually before the immediate reactions, I do an initial thoughts. What do I think the season's going to be about? What do I think is going to happen? I have kind of just 2 thoughts, and it's I cannot wait. I said that weird. I cannot wait to see the cinematography. That's one of my favorite parts of The Bear. And second of all, I'm really worried, and I cannot remember their names because it's been so long since I watched it. I feel like I remember her name being Sydney. Remind me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, here it is on screen. And the bear, I'm really worried that they're going to make them kind of in a romantic relationship. And I'm really liking the platonic and familial relationships. My camera's shaking, sorry. I'm really liking the platonic and familial relationships in the show, and if they destroy my favorite platonic relationship, I'm not going to be happy. Anyways, I'm going to go start watching it, so catch you for my immediate reaction. Alright, just finished episode 1, and I figured out the bear's name, Kami, and it is Sydney. See, I was going to get there eventually. And this first episode, normally I don't like dramas because they're so stupidly dramatic, and often they don't include all of the stuff I love about films. But when it comes to The Bear, I really like this simply because of the cinematography and how good they are at telling a story with almost no dialogue at all. Dialogue is used only if absolutely necessary. It's like the last resource they use in order to tell the story. And we get kind of bits of, I don't even remember his name, the brother's funeral, and how Calm was not able to go into the funeral. The whole first episode is a lot of flashbacks as well. I did get a little bit confused because once again, I don't watch a lot of dramas, so I'm not used to that kind of technique of film style, and it takes me a lot of effort to kind of understand what's going on. But I really liked it once I figured out what was going on in the flashbacks. And I found that his brother's death really was something that pulled him out of the hole of cooking in New York at a Michelin star restaurant. But it just put him into another hole back home. And the addition I absolutely loved was that he was cooking at this Michelin star restaurant, and the food that he made was served to Sydney. That was probably my favorite part of the whole episode. There was no dialogue needed. We knew that it was his dish. It seemed like that was one of the inspirations for what she's doing now. And it really showed what led all of these characters to how they're acting now. It was really good. And I can't wait for the other 9 episodes. I think there's 10 episodes in total. I cannot wait to watch the rest of them. Oh my god, episode 2 was filmed in just literally one scene, one set at one point. You know, it all happened in just one location, one point. You guys know what I mean if you've watched it. It literally happened just at one point in time for one event, one argument. I know they've done that before, but I just loved it so much. It was so good. I really appreciate the fact that they were able to tell an entire story, first of all, just from the cinematography. And now this one was very dialogue heavy, personally what I prefer to see in film. Not that it's bad, the first episode. I think before, like I said, the episode's really good, episode 1, but episode 2 is definitely what I'm used to seeing. And it's just as good. So far, the season's going really well. I just finished watching episode 3 and my cat's sleeping, and I just woke her up for you guys to see her. Say hi, Luna. Say hi, Luna. She loves me. Episode 3 is really good as well. I did struggle a little bit. Oh, she kicked me. It's my fault. I am kind of half laying on her. So episode 3, I did find it a little bit difficult following how much time had passed, even though I think what they put there was Sydney's little headband thing around her face. The headband from Sydney is probably what gave it away, and that's probably what they intended to do, but I still found it a little bit difficult to follow just because it moved so fast. I was like, oh my god, how many days has it been? It's been a while. Between episode 2 and 3, a lot of time has passed by the looks of it, but not enough time that the sister, she's still pregnant. And I can imagine this season we're probably going to see her give birth, or like her water breaks at a really inconvenient time. I can just imagine that happening. Stay tuned to see. You've probably watched it, stay tuned to see my reaction to that happening. I don't know if that'll actually happen, but I can imagine it will. So it is, the amount of money is stressing me out that they're paying for it. And what else is stressing me out is the fact that he's changing ingredients and using them once. Like, that is not sustainable. Not even just monetarily. It's like wasteful in every way. And you should be reusing ingredients in different ways, and no different ways to reuse ingredients anyway. There's so many different uses for the exact same ingredient for so many dishes. And I'm not even a chef, and I know that. And I know it's supposed to be one of the complications, but it's stressing me out. Anyway, on to episode 4. I'll get back to you guys with that reaction. Luna and I are going to watch it together. Right, Lins? Yeah? I'm going to be so honest. I watched episode 4 across like 2 or 3 days. And this one kind of felt like it was restarting the series. Like, we were introducing a bunch of new storylines. And yes, Luna's sitting here with me again. I think she's a little bit confused as to what this camera is and why she can see herself in it. But she's also falling asleep. So I don't know about this episode. Like, I like it. I really love the bear. Obviously, I think you can tell. But episode 4 felt like we were trying to, like, it should have been episode 1. And I know that they're trying to, episode 1 is like this cinematic thing, but they're also like very experimental with what they're doing. And I think it's to a fault when it comes to how they organize their episodes. I feel like they should have just reorganized it a little bit more with how they were designing it. Also, the more I get into this season, the more I'm like, okay, so Sydney and Kami, I don't know. Kami, I'm going to call him Kami because that's what his sugar calls them. So Kami and Sydney definitely aren't going to be together. And if they change that, I will throw a fit. You'll hear about it for the rest of your goddamn lives. The rest of the life of this channel, you guys are going to hear about it. I'm not going to be happy. Anyways, guys, I'm going to go watch episode 5. And I'm going to hope to God that familial and platonic relationships remain the main part of this show. Because that's what I really love about this show. I don't really think we need much of a romantic subplot. Honestly, I feel like I want the ex-girlfriend to stay away. She was a lovely character, and the actor's great. I feel like I don't want to see it. I don't need that in my life. Anyway, see you guys after episode 5. John Cena? Has he been there the entire time? Or have I forgotten? It's like every time John Mulaney shows up in this show, I'm like, damn, I forgot he was a character in this. Anyway, episode 5 was a lot of me trying to work out who's related to who. It always happens every season. I'm like, I have no idea how these people are actually related. So, I just spent the whole episode trying to keep up with that. Also, if they get rid of Marcus, I'm leaving with him. Like, straight out that door. Like, not that door, that window. I'm out there. You can't get rid of Marcus on my watch. Overall, episode 5 is really good as well. I'm really liking this season. There are some like tidbits I'm like, well, I'm a little bit confused. It's not perfect, but it is like really good, much better than a lot of the other shows you get in the Hollywood film industry. Welcome to the best angle of all time. I just finished watching episode 6 and it was Tina's backstory. Oh my god. Oh my god. Don't do this to me, Tina. That's great, but it also made me really upset about the fact that Michael's dead. Ugh. No. That's completely inappropriate for you to have done. Come on, seriously, the bear. This is not fair. This is my water bottle, by the way. And I cannot believe I had to sit through that. That was devastating. I was on like the verge of tears the entire time. And the conversation between Tina and Michael, the fact that I know that he was going to die, and the full circle moment with him receiving the photo of, what was it, the dish that Kami made, and that we saw that earlier in the season already. And like, I thought he already knew her at that point. It's like, I can't believe this. No! I'm so glad she ended up getting a job and now her life looks amazing. Mostly, but the one thing I will say, it took me a while to figure out it was a flashback. I thought she had 2 jobs at that point, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. The business is new. But no, it was a flashback. I will say, for another season, if we're gonna get another season, which I feel like we are, we're gonna need more obvious signs that what the time is. Flashback, present day, how much time has elapsed. I feel like there's not a clear enough sign, and that's it. That's my only criticism of it. So I finished episode 7, and I feel like we need more Sydney. That's what I would like to request. More Sydney. I know she's not like technically the main character, but it's also kind of technically an ensemble cast as well. Also, I have been waiting for Sugar / Nat / Natalie to I don't know what to call her, Sugar, I guess. I've been waiting for Sugar to finally go into labor. I feel like I've been waiting all season for that. Like, every episode I'm like, okay, surely now. And then by the time of this episode, I was like, yeah, finally, I have been waiting for this one. Overall, I feel like this episode is bringing back together all like the backstories, and there's a little bit more tension, especially with Sydney. She's stressing me out, man, with not signing that partnership contract. I don't know. I think that's what it's called, the partnership contract thing. Signing the contract to be an official partner. Because she's having doubts and she's stressing me out. I feel like surely, since she's part of the ensemble cast, she surely has to continue working for the bear in some way. I can't see her not doing that. I feel like she's essentially a part of the family, she's one of the cousins at this point. Alright, that's pretty much all I have to say about episode 7. Eventually I'm going to say like all of my thoughts at the end of this video of the season overall, but I'm just going episode by episode. So let's get into episode 8. Alright, back at it again with the bad angle and bad lighting, but I finished episode 8 and it stressed me out the entire time that the mom was going to be doing something wrong. But they had a moment. They had a cute little moment. And I also didn't realize that it'd be an issue. Well, I knew there would be an issue eventually with the phones. Otherwise, they wouldn't have pointed it out. But I didn't realize the shots with them all putting all of their phones in their lockers in the previous episode. Didn't realize it'd be an issue in that right specific moment. And then she started calling them and I was like, oh, dang, that's not good at all. But it all turned out fine, which is great. So yeah, on to episode 9 and then 10, and then we're done with the season and I'll like recap my thoughts on the entire season as a whole. I do not want to turn my light on, but I finished episode 9 and I was laughing about the 2 brothers, the like the handyman brothers. I don't know their names, but how did he end up in an operating room? What? How did he manage? I guess it makes sense for his character, but I'm not really sure how that happened. Sure. Anyway, great episode. We'll discuss more later in the episode because I'm tired and I'm not turning on my light. So, great episode. Brilliant. Sydney's stressing me out even more. She's been stressing me out all season, to be honest. I just finished watching episode 10 and it was good. I'm kind of disappointed that I said to be continued into the next season. I'm pretty sure they're renewed for another season, but I would have appreciated a little bit of a better finale, especially with what had happened in the season. I feel like we needed a little bit more rounding off of all the events and the main plot points, but I guess, like cliffhanger and everything. Maybe not as much as emotional payoff as I wish there would have been, but it was still good. I liked it. It wasn't the best episode, the finale of the season, But yeah, let's go talk about my thoughts on the entire season. I'm gonna relocate to do that. All right, so my overall thoughts on The Bear. I will say that I actually really enjoyed this season, and I know a lot of people, I haven't seen spoilers, surprisingly. Usually, as soon as something new comes out and is really popular, I immediately get some kind of spoiler. In fact, for A Quiet Place, which I haven't watched yet, someone who has millions of followers and someone I follow reposted a full-on spoiler for her millions of followers to see on A Quiet Place. And I have never been so mad in my life. For The Bear, I haven't seen a single spoiler. I've seen lots of reviews, like genuine reviews, spoiler-free reviews, which is great, which is awesome. But those reviews have said that they didn't like the season, and I'm trying to figure out why. If you didn't like the season, let me know in the comments section why, because I am genuinely curious as to what exactly you didn't like about this season 3 of The Bear. I think I need to rewatch the first 2 seasons, definitely, because I can't remember if there's a vibe switch between seasons 1, 2, and 3. If there is a little bit of a vibe switch between the seasons, I would get why people wouldn't enjoy it, because that means that they're not getting content episodes that they kind of signed up for, which I get. But I think this season, from what I do remember of the first few seasons, I feel like this one's more like cinematic, I guess, in a way. A little less drama, a lot more symbolism, metaphors, and I don't know about metaphors, more like symbolism in the sets and whatnot, and you have to like actually think about what's going on screen, which you already kind of had to do, but there was also a lot more events going on in the seasons prior to this. I feel like not a lot happened, but a lot happened at the same time in this season, and I didn't hate that. I guess maybe people do dislike that. I guess like our preferences for shows are just kind of different, you know. I totally get that, you know. Not this show isn't for everyone. I was watching someone's TikTok and I don't remember her name. Hang on, let me look it up. So on Rosa Overanalyzes, right, I commented, she made a video essentially saying that there are people saying that if you don't like The Bear, then you're not intelligent, you know, you just don't get it, you don't understand the show, when that's not like true. You can just dislike a show and understand what's going on, which I totally agree with. And I mentioned in her comment section that this is the type of show that is something you have to concentrate on, unfortunately, which isn't everyone's vibe, and you can fully understand it and still not like something like a show like The Bear. Totally fine, once again. And also said that it's kind of experimental in a way in the story structure, that the story structure it doesn't stick to one kind of structure in a way that shows normally do. You know, they have like a pattern that each episode goes in, and then they'll like tell the story this way, introduce the character. If there's an ensemble cast, like this is the character that is going to be talked about this season, and this is their story, this is a little bit of their backstory if you need it, this is a little bit of context of what their feelings are of this situation. And you know, they have like very proper structures and they keep to it for the entire season. The Bear does not do that, and that's why I think it's experimental. But a lot of people in the comment section were like, what do you mean experimental? So I don't know, if you guys don't think it's experimental, let me know. If you do agree with me, also let me know. By far my favorite episode was the episode that was actually directed by Ayo. I think her last name, I've never looked up how to pronounce her last name. Ayo Edebiri, which I feel like that's how it's spelled. So Ayo Edebiri, right? It was directed by her, right? And it was such a good episode. It was Tina's backstory, and it, like, I was on the verge of tears, and that, I would argue, is the best episode of the entire season. You know, Ayo is amazing at directing to be able to have made that episode. It was really good. I would absolutely love to see Ayo direct more episodes in the next seasons. I think it would turn out really well. There was a lot of emotional payoff in that particular episode that she directed, and I think it'd be brilliant to see her do that again. Personally, I feel like that episode should have been the finale, like something. I know that they were like having a funeral for a restaurant, but at the same time, I feel like they should have like switched around the episodes and shown the backstory in a way that it felt a little bit more like finale. That was I had like 2 issues with it, with the season, right? Was the finale was not great with emotional payoff. I feel like they needed a lot more emphasis on this is the end of the season, and then they just said to be continued, and I'm like, I didn't like that cliffhanger. It was a too much of a cliffhanger. You know, it didn't feel like it should have been there. And the other one was that I cannot for the life of me figure out what time and how much time has elapsed other than the pregnancy of Sugar's pregnancy. Like, that was the only thing that gave away like the proper time. And I think they changed Sydney's bandana at one point in like episode 2 or 3 or something along those lines, and that was the only time I could really keep track of how much time had passed. And those were just my two main issues with the whole season. Once again, overall, I really enjoyed it. I actually really love The Bear just as a series. I know, once again, like I said, a lot of people seem to have not liked it, so I am really curious to know why you guys didn't like it, if you did like it. Also, please agree with me if you liked it. I would love people to validate my feelings of this season. Also, if you didn't like the season in particular, or if you didn't like The Bear just as a series, you know, don't let people convince you that you're not smart just because you don't like it. You know, it doesn't mean anything. It's just, some people just aren't into shows like The Bear. Sometimes you don't want to concentrate on a show. Every time I sit down to watch a show, I want to be like doing something else, like writing an outline for a video, for example. And then I couldn't do that for The Bear. The Bear isn't just a smart people show. You know, just enjoy it if you do, don't enjoy it if you don't, and watch something else. You know, it doesn't matter if you don't enjoy it. Don't let people convince you it's a smart people show. You know, over here on this channel, nothing's a smart people show. Everything's just a show, and if we like it, we do. If we don't like it, we don't, and we're allowed to share our differing opinions here. So with all that said, please let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you agree with me, if you disagree with me, just as long as you're respectful, you're allowed to disagree with me all you want. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. I will be doing more immediate reactions at some point when I watch A Quiet Place as well, and maybe Twist. I'm trying to figure out which movies I'm going to be watching. I don't know. I'll be doing immediate reactions more in the future, but I also do upload multiple times a week. It's 3 to 4 times a week at the moment. Once again, I hope you enjoyed this video, but I've been CJ, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!